All right. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Ms. Sheldon, will you call the roll for us?
Mayor Holly Berry.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stephanie Dalton.
Here.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Pete Phillips.
Here.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Here.
For today's invocation, please join me in a moment of silence to reverently collect our thoughts, pray, and ready ourselves for this meeting and the duties to which we have been called. Thank you. Tonight we have, what's your troop number?
1058 and 58.
All right, we have troop 1058 with us, and if you wouldn't mind, Mackenzie, please come lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would. Come here.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Our first item of business is consideration of the minutes for approval or correction for the February 6, 2024 work session. Are there any corrections? If not, do I have a motion to approve as written?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the minutes for the February 6, 2023 2024 commission meeting. Do we have any corrections? If not, do I have a motion to approve as written?
Almost.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. My mayor's report today. I wanted to remind everyone that America's Gardens still has several gardening workshops remaining this spring, including a seed starting class on Saturday, February 24th, and an edible landscaping class on Saturday, March 16th. Please save the date for Red Bank's third annual weed wrangle, Saturday, March 2nd at the White Oak Connector Trail. And the next Red Bank Community Food Pantry is Thursday, March 7th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. You can sign up to volunteer at their sign-up genius at redbankfoodpantry.org. And now we have our report from Vice Mayor Dalton.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, everyone. First, I want to say how thankful I am to have been able to celebrate the Northside Neighborhood House's 100-year anniversary this morning with staff and fellow Commissioner Pete Phillips. The most special part of the morning for me was hearing from Esther Boateng, one of our Red Bank High School seniors, about her and her family's journey from Ghana to our community and the impact that Northside Neighborhood House and Robert Love, the high school's community school coordinator, has had on her life. It brought me to tears. Her life and thousands of others over the course of 100 years and counting have been changed for the better. And we are all better for having Northside Neighborhood House in our community. And I look forward to many more years of working in partnership with them. I hope that you'll join us at our next Red Bank Signal Mountain Chamber Council meeting at 11:30 a.m. on February 28th at the Red Bank Community Center. We'll be hearing from Chris Wood, Be the Change Youth Initiative, and Dr. Matt Johnson of Red Bank High School about the work they're doing with our students through art and entrepreneurship programming and real-world opportunities. Huge thanks to the 30 folks that volunteered for our rescheduled MLK Day of Service, and to Green Steps and Be Caffeinated for being such awesome partners, as always. My friend Dawn and I picked up 4 bags of trash from the banks of Stringer's Branch. But in total, our volunteers picked up around 50 bags of trash, plus bulk trash items that were too large to put into bags. There's always, unfortunately, more work to do, so I hope you'll join us at our next cleanup event in April in honor of Earth Day. Heads up, in case you haven't noticed, the meeting house is currently closed for renovations, but will relaunch on March 1st with more food and drink items. and hopefully maybe one day expanded hours. The Knot and Needle here in Red Bank is now booking for Arts and Crafts Summer Camp. There will be weekly themes and daily craft projects. You can find more information and sign up at knot and needle.com. You can register for the Pickleball Classic hosted by the Rotaract Club of Chattanooga. This event will take place on May 18th at the First Horizon Pavilion, and proceeds will benefit the Chambliss Center for Children, which is one of our incredible community partners. You can register online at chattanoogarotaract.com. Friendly reminder that early voting for the March 5th primary is happening now through February 27th, and you only have 1 week left to request an absentee ballot. And finally, the Red Bank High School Band Program is hosting their annual chili cook-off and concert on February 29th. Chili tasting starts at 5:15 p.m. and the band will be performing at 6 p.m. That's it for me. Thank you.
Next, we have our report from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Thank you. Hello, Red Bank. Red Bank High School boys basketball team plays this evening at 8:30 against Signal Mountain at Red Bank. So go Lions. If they win, they will host the next competition this Saturday, February 24th at Red Bank. If they do not win, then they will travel on Saturday. As Vice Mayor Dalton mentioned, early voting is going on now for the March 5th election. Your vote matters. Applications for the Red Bank Festival Committee continues. Contact Jeffrey Gray for more information. And the next Listen and Learn is going to be held Monday, March 18th at Sabor. We met last night and it's really classy food and a great atmosphere. So I hope to see you from 6 to 7 p.m. at that restaurant. That's it. Thank you.
Next, we have our report from Commissioner Phillips.
I'd like to thank the troop for being here today. And we had a good breakfast this morning at the Northside Neighborhood House at Chattanooga. And I don't have much more to report, but thank you very much.
All right. And finally, our report from Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. I don't have a lot to report, but I do want to say thank you to the community who has supported my wife and I. We welcomed our son Nolan into the world 2 weeks ago today.
Last commission meeting.
So, yeah, I was gone last meeting, so that was why. But yeah, it warms my heart to know that we have such a rich and caring community here in Red Bank. So thank you all.
Next, we have our report from our city manager, Mr. Martin Branham.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I'll just remind everybody that we've started a conversation about a library in Red Bank. And for those who were not at the work session, I refer you back to the work session online under the agenda item library. You can see the discussion paper and stay tuned for more conversation with the commission about a library in Red Bank. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Our first item of unfinished business was tabled from our last meeting. A public hearing and consideration of ordinance 24-1254, an ordinance of the city of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending the zoning ordinance and maps of the city to rezone property located at 221 Sweetland Drive from R1 residential to R3 residential. Ms. Johnson, would you mind giving a recap for anybody who was not here for the work session of the previous meeting?
Sure, I'm happy to do so. First, I want to thank Mr. Kevin Patel, the property owner, is here again. Apologies for the last meeting that got deferred a little bit, but we're back on track today. To recap kind of what was discussed during the work session, this property is currently zoned R1. The applicant is requesting it to be rezoned to R3 for a potential use of multifamily. This property is adjacent to an existing R3 district that has a similar use on it. So it is in harmony with surrounding uses as far as its potential impact on the community. Staff does recommend the rezoning take place. We did add a parameter in there that gives not only the applicant, but the planning commission and staff some guidance. So when that applicant is ready to submit for a special exception, as his proposed plan would require him to do, gives a little bit of direction, both, again, for all that are involved. And at the end of that journey, it will go back to the planning commission and then to city commission one more time for a special exceptions permit.
Okay. Should we have the applicant introduce himself?
I think that would be great.
Mr. Patel,
Mr. Patel.
thank you for joining us again. We apologize for the delay.
So my name is Suhash Patel. I'm with K3A Construction. This is the property owner, Kenny Patel. And if you guys have any questions, it will be great to answer them.
Any questions for the applicant?
What type of building do you propose to construct?
Well, currently it's going to be a multi-family apartment complex kind of setting, townhome type, where it's going to be like a kitchen and a living room on the ground floor with 2 bedrooms upstairs, with a half bathroom on the ground floor and a full bathroom on the second floor. Maybe up to 10 units.
Okay, up to 10.
The property's not going to have probably space to do anything more than that. Probably 2 to 3 buildings. So we'll get you a full set of drawings once, we get the rezoning approval.
Excellent. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you very much. I'll go ahead, you can have a seat if you like. Go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. Mr. Granum, would you like to read the ground rules?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for public comments. Please observe these rules for public comments. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate the timer visible on the wall. Please respect her direction and conclude any comments if time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, city staff, or the audience. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium to comment. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Does anyone have any comments specific to the rezoning of 221 Sweetland Drive at this time? Okay, if there are no public comments, then I will close the public hearing. And then I will ask if we have a motion to approve this rezoning.
I'll move.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? I'd just like to say I'm excited about the potential of this development. It's a good use for that property, so close, especially to the hopeful future site of where the Save-A-Lot is now, 200 plus apartment complex and retail coming to that. That would be walkable to your site, could make it a good asset, and adding more housing units to our city that are desperately needed. So thank you. We appreciate you coming back. All right. If there's no further discussion, then Ms. Sheldon, will you please call the vote for us?
Mayor Holly Berry,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stephanie Dalton,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Pete Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on first reading. We'll have a second and final reading at our next meeting. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, next unfinished business, we have ordinance 24-1255, an ordinance of the city of Red Bank, Tennessee to amend the fiscal year 2024 operating budget beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024 in order to appropriate unbudgeted expenditures and grant funding for the general fund in the amount of $553,936 and the State Street Aid Fund in the amount of $280,000. Second and final reading. So this is a housekeeping / budget excellent item that would normally be introduced and was at our last meeting by our fine now retired John Alexander. I hope he is enjoying his retirement. So do I hear a motion to approve?
Excuse me. Did you say 533? It's 833. Did you say 500?
It's 553.
553,936.
280 is the State Street Aid Fund. Together, it's 800 and
That's separated into two different funds.
30
on-
something
in the-
thousand.
Okay.
In the caption.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Dalton. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there's no more discussion, then Ms. Sheldon, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Holly Berry,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stephanie Dalton,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Pete Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on second and final reading. Moving on to new business, we have Resolution 24-1658, a resolution by the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing the purchase and installation of audiovisual interactive displays and conferencing equipment from R.J. Young in the amount of $24,875 at the Red Bank Community Center. And I'll turn this over to our CIO, Chief Seymour.
Please excuse the uniform. So this project, we put this out for bid and we received 2 bids. This actually was the low bid by a few $1,000s. This is to upgrade our AV equipment at the community center. So what does that do for the bang for the buck? Well, it'll be similar to this, but yet not. There's going to be 3 displays put up in the community center, 1 large one, a couple on the side. Honestly, it'll be those that are a little more tech savvy will have the ability to be able to use the displays, or they can still use the projector in there for other events or whatnot. Along with that, there'll be a couple of cameras in there as well. A couple of wireless microphones in there. So, and then they're installing a few speakers. So it's just to upgrade that. If anybody wants to have I guess a fancier meeting, that they have the abilities to do that, to use the technology that's in there. And we've had some requests for that as well.
So good. Oh, I was just going to say, and there have been times where we've had to move our meetings to the community center. So we would need to have the same kind of level of equipment there. Okay.
Right. Yes, it would be similar. A little different, but it's got enough similarities to it.
So it's not just security cameras, it's streaming capability.
Correct. It's almost the same cameras that are here
Okay.
as well.
Just out of curiosity, the smaller screens, are any of them going to have a touch capability like the one we have here?
No, they're not. So one of them actually, an 86-inch, the larger, none of them are touch screen, but they are smart TVs. So they'll work similar. They just won't have the touch screen features on it. And actually what happened was when we got the displays for City Hall and they were going to install them, it was just going to be a wall of displays. And so we decided to, well, let's repurpose one of them. So that's what we did. So we've been holding on to it and repurposing it to use at the community center. And then 186-inch, and then I think the 2 other ones are 65-inch, kind of on the side in case somebody can't see the front. They can look to the side to see what they are. And it's a multi-use facility. So we were trying to decide, we want to upgrade it, but we also understand there's parties in there and different things. We didn't want them hanging from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Then next thing you know, you'd be having a pinata hanging from them and somebody swinging and hitting the, so it's like, we didn't want to risk that. So, but we're going to look at, we're going to get with our facilities manager to maybe look at if we need to do anything to protect them or to do any encasements or anything like that. So we'll look at that once we kind of figure
Or
out
adjust our security deposits.
And there may be that. There may be discussions on that as far as use of technology and all that is.
All right. Any questions?
Is this budgeted?
So the plan, this is ARPA funds. This is part of the digital transformation portion of the digital technology of our ARPA funds.
Thank you.
Certainly.
All right. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll approve.
Okay.
I have a motion from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey and a second from Commissioner Phillips. All right. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there are no more comments, then we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution 24-1659, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing an agreement with Cengage Learning, Inc., DBA InfoSec, to provide security training for the entire workforce of the City of Red Bank for a cost of $5,050.50. CIO Chief Seymour.
So you may be asking, well, why are we having to have this amount on the commission? Really, it's primarily because it's a 3-year price. And so because of that, we to get used to it. Actually, each year they can charge us each year. So it falls under our $2,500 threshold each year anyway, about $1,600. So in essence, what this does is we've looked at, several different companies. This was the better price. Plus, when we were looking at grant funding and all from the state, they vetted this group and have kind of been approved to use their grant funding, once that's approved. But, so what this allows is training for all of our employees, those that have emails or those that have the computer logons, both, for cybersecurity. And, that's huge right now. There'll also be added additions to that as far as like phishing campaigns and things, some security testing of our systems and all that. They've been around for a long time, and honestly, we like them. There were several other companies we talked to, and we liked them all. I mean, I've had experience with some of the other ones, but this was the best price, so we're gonna give them the opportunity. So I'm looking forward to doing it.
Thank you, Chief.
This is coming from ARPA funds as well, correct?
Yes, I mean, we have the funding in the general fund, but the intent when we did budgeting was for the first year or so to come out of ARPA. So it's really not there. I think we've also may have been awarded a grant, cybersecurity grant through PEP. I haven't confirmed with them. I got an email like, hey, this is your other notice. I was like, well, I didn't receive the first one. So I don't know if something got lost in the emails or not. But that's a 50-50 matching grant, which we have to come to before you'd actually get that signed off on to accept those funds. So, but yes, so it'll be mostly ARPA.
Now, you mentioned it's a 3-year price. Is that $5,050 each year, or that's
Total.
$550 divided by 3?
That's total. I think when
Okay.
this was done, the thought was that was going to be that was the amount that we had to pay for it up front, but we can pay for it each year. So it's about $1,600 per year.
Thank you.
And that will change based on the number of users and employees. We went ahead and got enough and added a few on there to cover staffing, changeover, or if we have any additions, anything. So.
Mr. Granum, did you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add that this is really part of our digital transformation and risk management. There's a nexus here. The digital transformation really began when we created the CIO position, and the chief has filled that brilliantly with executive leadership across a wide variety of, behavior changes, insurance changes, technology adoption and changes. It gets into firewall and dual authentication and a lot of behind the scenes stuff that the chief and our IT manager, Stacy Bradley Rump, are just quietly doing. But all that said, we present quite a bit of risk. So much so that we do not qualify for PEP's cyber insurance coverage. This is one of the key things that we need to implement, this exact contract where we're training our employees and the vendor is pinging our employees, and as email holders, you'll get this as well. And if you click on a link you weren't supposed to, you'll get reported and you'll be eligible for training. So
Remedial training.
remedial training. It's a very healthy thing. It informs us all, and all that we're going to learn and the behaviors that we will adopt are healthy for us in our private lives too, because we're all vulnerable to identity theft and cyber phishing and spear phishing and hacking and malware, all that stuff. It's all embodied in what the training we're going to get here. And then I'll give you a peek at next commission meeting where we're actually going to buy cyber insurance. We don't qualify for the PEP. There's a few more steps and we know what they are. And in the next year or two, we will reposition ourselves to where we qualify for the PEP cyber insurance coverage. And maybe they make it a little easier because there's a lot of cities across Tennessee that don't qualify. So we'll ultimately be covered by PEP, but in the interim, we're going to ask the commission to approve buying into some cyber insurance at the next commission meeting. It's really two sides of the same coin, the training and the additional coverage, in addition to all the other things that are happening behind the scenes. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Cranham. Any more questions for the chief?
Not a question, but I think this is a wonderful idea. I mean, it's a small amount of money that could save us a lot of money.
Relative
like-
to the risk.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge. And
Yeah.
and I'm going
Oh,
to,
you're
I
good.
want to
You're
take the opportunity to brag on the employees, and they, from different departments, all the departments,
Even the fire department?
We get,
You like this?
or me myself, you don't hear me say it. It's all departments. I'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it there.
That's not as good as we'll get. They, we have some good employees in that they recognize some of these phishing attacks and they do really well at reaching out to verify. And if they're in doubt, they call or well, usually they call, because emails, you're like, okay, it's fake, And so, we have, some top-notch employees that are on the game, and they're like, this don't not quite seem right and all that. And so much so, even in our finance department and in all the departments, they've caught many things like that. And so, but, it just takes one. And so we think this is definitely, not just a nice to have. No, I think this is something we have to have. Yeah, absolutely. Today's world.
Absolutely.
I would like to add that the mayor requested 5 $100 Apple gift cards from me the other day. And I've got them in the car.
Oh, good.
No, I'm kidding.
You didn't mail them all?
I'm kidding. Yeah.
It should go without saying, you get an email asking you to pay somebody using gift cards. Do not do that.
All right.
That is all.
All right. Well, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? If any comments from the residents present? If there's no more comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution 24-1660, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing the City of Red Bank to participate in the 2024 American Water Environmental Grant Program. Deputy Director Johnson.
Thank you. This is becoming an annual application process for Red Bank, which I'm very appreciative. It is a 100% match. It's reimbursement. So your ordinance reads that we're going to hopefully participate up to $3,500, sometimes give or take, depending on what type of budget we propose. But this is an initiative that continues the city's beautification efforts. 3 times a year, we do a cleanup, which MLK, Day of Service, Earth Day, and then National Cleanup Day, which happens in September. This particular grant does target the one in the fall. It helps us with some information, some sharing, and then some final reporting back to American Water. I believe last year they came and actually did an award where they presented us the check for our reimbursement of last year's efforts. So our park manager, Jeff Grady, does handle this. He takes the lead. He's very involved and doing a fantastic job with connecting these resources with community engagement.
I was able to attend last year's Stringers Branch cleanup event, and it was very fruitful, unfortunately.
Yes.
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 Ms. Johnson, I do have a question. I know in the past, Mr. Tate maybe knows this, we had some employees doing some of the bigger debris removal of the tree branches and trees, I guess, that have fallen in. And because it is a protected water of the state, we do have to be careful about, what can be removed or not removed there. Does any of that grant funding go to overtime pay or anything like that for our employees who do some of that more technical stuff?
It can.
Okay.
As we identify it, and it's almost a 2-step. After the actual cleanup, we have participants that can do more bank cleanup. If we do identify areas that does take a heavier lift, where we would prefer our staff take care of it, or depending on the size of it, if we had to by chance contract it out, we would identify that. So again, that's where you see that $3,500 up to.
Okay.
If it comes up, then we have an avenue to be able to recoup some of our expenses.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So if you find something that's in the stream that needs a heavy lift, please don't get in the stream and do it. Just communicate back to Public Works and we'll get it scheduled and take a look at it.
I already pulled a buggy out of, but the water wasn't there. It was just muck. So
Well, I'm glad you didn't injure yourself.
it needed to come out. I had some help.
Moving forward, if you find any of those, please let us know.
Okay.
Citizens Portal.
Yes, Citizens Portal. Yes. Excellent.
Yes.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Vice Mayor Dalton. Any further discussion? I hope we get it. Any comments from the residents present? If there are no more comments, then we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Johnson. Next, we have Resolution 24-1661, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, adopting bank form resolutions and authorizing signers for bank signature cards. Who should I throw this
That needs
to?
to be the first.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Forms are not.
Okay. So, do I have a motion to table?
Motion.
Do we have a motion for table from Vice Mayor Dalton? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Workload
tabled
is Latin.
for our next meeting. Okay, motion tabled for our next meeting.
March 5th.
For March 5th. Okay. Moving on to Resolution 24-1662, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing a new interlocal cooperation agreement with the Small Cities Coalition of Hamilton County. Mr.
661.
Yeah, 1661.
Okay. Oh, because the other one was deleted, probably. All right.
Yeah.
Resolution 24-1661. All right. Mr. Granum, are you gonna introduce that one for us? We weren't able to get to it in the work session, so this will be our first time hearing about it. Oh, I see there was no omission.
We are on the Small Cities Coalition, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
A little hiccup there.
So we are, since 2015, Red Bank has been in the Small Cities Coalition, and that is 6 municipalities. That is Saudi Daisy, East Ridge, Collegedale, Red Bank, and also Lakeside and Lookout Mountain. And it's just served us well. Once a month, the city managers get together with the communication strategist / legislative liaison. There's one employee of the Small Cities Coalition, that is Bridget Vapor. The way the coalition is organized is she is actually a employee of the city of Red Bank. They manage all the HR aspects, but she is shared amongst all the city members of the coalition, and she does a fantastic job. So some of the principal things she does is she pulls us together, city managers, for a monthly meeting where we have a very rich conversation about all the issues that are facing us. Everything from soup to nuts, budget, payroll, street sweeping, all those kinds of things. It's an outlet for us to share information across those cities. And then also she is a communication strategist. She develops a lot of the press releases that we do. In fact, all the press releases. There's a fantastic relationship that has emerged between Summer and our Facebook and Bridget on our press releases. Bridget has the ear of all the media outlets in the region, and also a lot of the agencies that have media presence, such as utilities and other large organizations that are proactive in the media space. She knows them all. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, she's our legislative liaison. And twice a year, she pulls all the Small Cities Coalition together with all of our legislators. And in particular, Senator Gardenhire, Senator Watson, Representative Hazelwood. Those are the 3 that serve Red Bank, but all of them. Representative Pelton, and
Idle.
all of them. Yep. And it's just wonderful. And we get together with them and talk the overlap between municipal issues and legislative issues. And once a year, all the elected officials join us. And in fact, that's coming up, an opportunity in Nashville, where TML hosts an annual legislative event, which is superbly done. All of the state executive leaders come. This is where the governor comes. And he comes, kind of gives a pitch and leaves, but a lot of his cabinet officials stay as well. You can actually have a conversation with the comptroller, for example, Jason Mumpower, and it's just amazing. In the evening, the Small Cities Coalition comes in and pulls all the elected officials together in a social environment with all of our legislators, and that's just very rich. So that's really kind of it. That's what it means to be in the Small Cities Coalition. We share Bridget Raper. She helps us as city managers. She makes us proactive in the media space, and she pulls us together with our legislators. And I think it's a gold standard, really, honestly. It's an approach to that kind of work that other regions across the nation would be well served to emulate, where we share somebody with her kinds of talents across a group of small cities. We could never hope to have somebody like her just for Red Bank, but when you scale it up to what the 6 of us can do, it's pretty amazing. So that's kind of a peek under the tent of what the Small Cities Coalition is. And the reason we're bringing this agreement is really it's no change, but all the signatures were very dated from 2015, and all of us city managers said it's just time to get this back out there in circulation, and it's a refreshing of the interlocal agreement. There's no change to our commitment. We, as one of 6, there are 4 larger cities, and we each shoulder 20%, and the 2 smaller cities each shoulder 10% of basically of the cost of Bridget. And that is unchanged. So our responsibility to the coalition is unchanged. This just gets it back out there for a refreshing. We did clean up some language. None other than your city attorney, Mr. Arnold Stoltz, actually rewrote the document that you're looking at on behalf of the commission. So we're grateful to Arnold for cleaning them.
All
Thank you,
right,
Mayor.
thank you. Any question?
I did. Mr. Green, you said, I guess the proportion hasn't changed, but the portion amount has changed.
I
The
did.
maximum amount from 20,000 in 2015 to 9 years later, 25,000.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. We actually.
And is that going to be the same, do you know, in the other cities? Are they looking to renew this themselves?
So the interlocal agreement doesn't actually have a dollar figure, but I put the dollar figure in the resolution, which is unique to Red Bank.
Okay,
To just be transparent with
okay,
my commission, what the financial cost is.
Okay.
So the interlocal agreement, just whatever the cost is, it shares it out percentage wise.
okay.
But I wanted you to know it's about a $25,000 a year in real dollars commitment.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually peaked above 20,000. The old resolution said 20,000,
Yes.
and we're actually currently slightly above that, but we'll be well below the 25,000.
But it's been 9 years since we've looked at that number,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
it
Yeah.
was probably appropriate to do it now.
Thank you, ma'am.
The
Thank
bulk
you.
of that goes to Bridget's salary.
It's really all Bridget and some of her expenses.
Right.
There's some travel and for example, the social event that we have with the legislators, the coalition pays for that, so there is all of that. We gathered together with all of our legislators. We were hosted by Saudi Daisy, the mayor and the city manager, about 4 or 5 months ago, and had a very good conversation. I would say at least twice a year, and oftentimes it works out to be 3 or 4 times a year where we get together with the legislators. And Bridget provides great access to them on demand whenever we need it too. So she really has when Bridget sends an email, a whole lot of people in this region open that email and read it.
Are there
She's a
any
really
other-
good writer.
Yes.
Are there any other small coalition bodies in Tennessee that have followed the lead?
I'm unaware. In fact, I would like to go into the Tennessee City Managers Association and give a little presentation on this. I haven't stood down and created it, but I think it's a gold standard, and I haven't seen it elsewhere.
I remember there was a particular piece of state legislation that kind of made its inception, back in the day, but I forgot what it in particular was.
In fact, with the legislature in session right now, she is circulating a list of bills to watch. As a matter of fact, there's one circulating right now on property tax, capping property tax increases, and so it is. She's kind of watching out for what's going on. There's a lot of stuff in the law enforcement world. I forward all those emails into Chief Seymour, and he's well served with the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police. But it's good to know that Bridget's also keeping an eye on that.
She's brought quite a few pieces to our attention in the past that we've acted on. I remember building materials in particular being one that we had to move quick in order to maintain our standing. All right, any more questions for Mr. Granum? Do I hear a motion to approve? We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dalton. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? If there are no more comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Our last item on the agenda is resolution 24-1662. A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee to adopt the consultant selection policy for projects funded in whole or in part with funds provided by the Federal Highway Administration or the Tennessee Department of Transportation. Deputy Director Johnson.
Thank you. I think the caption really spells it all. A lot of our grant-funded projects either come through the Federal Highway Administration, which is funneled therefore through TDOT. This is a housekeeping resolution that's coming into play. Its policies that really ensures the competitiveness and the transparency in professional engineering contracted services. I think one of the things to note in here as we walked through it, SETD, our consultant with them who helps administer some of our grants, identify these very quickly. We've already hit all of these marks for the last year when we have competitively bid for engineering services. So it's good to see it come out in an actual document across the board that TDOT is requiring that we adopt this. One of the thresholds that we will overcome when this does get passed, sent back in, is it's uniquely tied to our CMAQ grant, which is our bicycle boulevard that we're hoping to get underway. So getting some gas behind that initiative with this policy being adopted is pretty close to giving us the green light. I anticipate the next step to be a contract that comes from TDOT.
I don't suppose this includes any requirements that the contractors pick up their barrels. Or not
That
in
is unique
use.
to every contract. So, yes.
All right, any other questions for Deputy Director Johnson? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Dalton. Any further discussion? All right, any comments from the residents present? If there is no more discussion, we'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'm on Bicycle Boulevard.
Absolutely.
All right, we have reached the time for citizen comments for items not on the agenda. Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules for citizen comments. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city reporter will operate the timer visible on the dais. Please respect her direction and conclude any comments if time expires. All comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, the city staff, or the audience. The commission is here to listen, not necessarily to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during public comment. Having said that, we do have a special group in the audience, and so I'm going to ask the mayor if she wouldn't mind inviting questions from the scouts present.
Please.
At this time, citizens are invited to the podium to comment. Please begin by stating your name and address.
All right. Would anyone like to speak for any items not on today's agenda? Or would any of the troop members have any questions for us about local government and municipal government?
I believe they're too shy.
After leading the pledge already, you're already famous. All right. If there are no comments, then do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Phillips. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Dalton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here. You're welcome.